And welcome to the latest edition of the 941 Sports Zone, episode number 39, about to get underway. I'm Spitz. He's John, ready for OTA's Masoni.
Yeah, football.
Who,
Let's talk
football.
Let's start talking football.
Yeah, the middle of May. We had the schedule release last week.
Oh,
woohoo! Yeah, that's just tremendous. Whatever. We won't get much into that today, if any at all.
No, there's no reason to. That's the irony of it all. There's a lot of little things to talk about today, Rich, but little things happen here and there. Very sort of interesting little stories, but that not one of them. Although the four-letter network really wanted to push the Josh Allen and the Bills were starting OTAs today, so I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, well, they got nothing else to talk about. We only got a Game 7, and the two NBA conference finals are about to get underway. But
and, a lot of little.
It's all about OTAs.
Yeah, no
ridiculous. Doubt. By the way, you attended something that you actually created back in the day, huh?
Well, absolutely. There was a little golf tournament that Venice High School used to throw, and they would have to make some money on it. And then back about almost 20 years ago, we sort of revamped it and kind of and picked it up. And I ran the golf tournament for the high school football team for about 6 or 7 years, and then handed it over to the multi-talented, highly capable Jessica Pacino, who is the touchdown club president as of this current time, and she's taken it to levels of that are just beyond belief as how well it looks and how good it is, and the having to adapt with different things and having to change it back and forth for different seasons and weather, you name it. Does a great job, and it is a blast. I like to say too, when people say, "Oh, it's a big fundraiser," and it is a great fundraiser, but boy, when you go out there and with the price you pay, you get a lot for that. We probably get more for your buck than you actually are giving, but that's because the sponsors are so generous with the stuff that they provide. We have volunteers all over the golf course who have just as much fun as the golfers. I can promise you that.
Yep.
Sometimes I think the volunteers have more fun. I've been a volunteer, not a golfer, on a few occasions. I had a friend of mine with a bad knee who this year he volunteered. He was having a blast. So it's a lot of fun. Everybody's in a good mood. At the end of the day, it's a fundraiser, and it really does a lot for the fundraising for the football team, Venice High School. But again, a lot of other places, a lot of other sports these days are doing golf tournaments as fundraisers and doing a great job as well. So people get something for it, and you can there's a formula to it, and the golf courses can help you. But it's a lot of fun when you do it right.
Hey, it's was that Plantation this year, right?
Plantation Golf and Country Club. It's flipped around a few different places. I will say sometimes it's because need a breath of fresh air and to spread the wealth around, and sometimes it's because we had so much fun that one year we were asked not to come back. I will admit that to you, Rich.
Oh,
but that's
gotcha.
Okay. Not everybody. You never know, but we are about having fun, and sometimes it's just get a little loud, and you never know what's going to happen with that stuff. But for the most part, everything is very well run and very well attended and very well behaved for the most part. So whenever you get a chance, if somebody's in your community and doing a golf tournament, support them. You get a nice golf course at a very for your donation for a good price, and usually food and drink and all the kind of stuff you would want out on the golf course.
The 941 Sports Zone, presented as always by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, locally owned, nationally backed, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses throughout the Gulf Coast. Give them a call, 941-251-4257, 941-251-4257. Rainy season's begun down there. If your roof has sprung a little bit of a leak, or you think that you might
just happened here, so
yep. Yeah, it's usually light behind you, John. It is not today, and we are recording
this location is going to be a little bit gloomier looking than normal. So, but again, it's this is what it comes to. It's amazing how it switches. Hey, guess what? Next week, rainy season is going to start. Really dry air, lasts you a little humidity, but you can't. It's blue skies, not a drop of rain anywhere, and the next thing you know, the next 25 weeks or so, it's going to be 40-50% chance of rain every day. And that's just how it goes. The winds change, and we go from a west to east, from an east to west, from a west to east pattern. and off we go. So we are looking to see if El Nino, the
Mm.
strong El Nino, changes around some of our weather patterns, but probably not as much as it's going to deflect, hopefully, some hurricanes from getting fired up this year. Hey, Rich,
Hope
one
so.
more thing real quick. I meant
Yep.
I see I'm wearing Florida gear. Doesn't everybody knows I wear my fanship on my chest, but this
Mhm.
is a little bit different. Today I'm wearing my Florida gear in honor of my daughter Natalie, who on Friday will graduate as a doctor from the veterinary school at the
Wow.
University of Florida. So we have a doctor in the family.
Yes.
So Natalie is she's a hard worker. She's going to take her talents to the United States Army, where she'll be a veterinarian in the Army. She had gone into the National Guard right out of high school. Actually, she was still in high school, believe it or not, and and she's been with the military and following in her uncle's footsteps, my brother and her niece, her cousins as well, and has done very well with that. And it's provided her an opportunity to go through veterinary school without a bunch of bills because the Army was on a scholarship from the Army. So very proud of her. Her, myself and her mother and the whole family are just very proud of her and looking forward to that day. So I'm gearing up today. I'll gear up again on Friday. So we'll definitely be toasting her and her accomplishments. And off she goes to the Army when she gets out.
Well, congratulations to you and her.
No, I appreciate that. And it's just great to see that hard work, which she's a hard worker. She's a grinder, very intelligent as well. So well, I just said it's been a fun ride. We've been football buddies and you name it for the last 10 years up in Gainesville, and gonna miss her a lot, but she's gonna do great things. And then I'll have to find somebody else to go out to breakfast on Sundays with, wherever that may be. And I probably at that point I'll be bragging to her about the good food I'm eating, and she'll probably be frustrated with me. But nonetheless, we'll keep it going.
A daughter frustrated with her dad? No way. It never happens.
I don't want to hear what you're eating. I'm not eating that good stuff.
Yeah,
so anyway.
Exactly. All right, FHSA baseball championships. I really thought we were going to have a little bit of a coronation, but unfortunately, Venice fell in the state title game to Class 7A. Douglas Parkland 2-1 on Saturday, and the reason, Gio Rojas, who has a very good chance of being the number 1 overall pick in the June draft. Rojas, 6 2/3 innings, gave up just 2 hits, struck out 12. Through 105 pitches. They brought somebody in to get the last out. Venice rallied. They were down 2-0 going into the 7th. Got a run. Had the tying run on base, but unfortunately could not get that home. Still a tremendous season for Craig Faulkner and the gang, 32-2. And this is where, you and I have bantied about, the fact that we get into the state championships, instead of playing best of 3, it's a one-off. And Carter Cox pitched a complete game on Friday for Venice as they won their semifinal game over Vero Beach 4-2. But obviously he wasn't available on Saturday. Certainly the pitching was good enough, but when you're facing a guy like Rojas, that's kind of tough.
So Rich, I think we were talking before we got started, but there was a lot of little things that this week that came about that could have been any one of my what's bugging me subjects this week. And in this case with the Venice game, a little bit of what you just said kind of was kind of bugging me. Again, I'll give the Stoneman Douglas coach. He's got a set on him because he didn't throw Rojas in that first game and had to come from behind to make it to that championship game. Rojas he's a lefty. He throws 95, throws in. He's not afraid to throw in on guys. He's got a lot to go. And you said, right, could be number 1 overall pick. I've also heard that, no further down the line, then he'll go to number 6 to the Royals. I think I've been hearing as well. But yeah, it's Venice 32-2. They lost both their games by 1 run. That's it. Okay. And
in two tremendous
He was
tournaments,
the
by the way.
top pitcher in the country and probably
Mhm.
one of the top teams in the country. And when they played up in that tournament earlier in the season. So if there's a little bit of a conversation amongst some of the media folks that are saying like that these guys that are the guys who rank these teams in like a Max Preps kind of scenario, saying, how do I not vote Venice the number one team in the country? I know they lost, but they lost 2 games by 1 run each, and they're 32-2, and they lost to the best pitcher. So they're looking at it from a different perspective, but that's the way things are. That could have been my what's bugging me. Like, does a state championship on a one-off kind of scenario? Is that the difference when you play 34 baseball games at the top level? My argument could be, look at a team like IMG, that's an all-star team that plays 10 games, and Max Preps puts them at number 1 or number 2 in the country. They didn't play for a state championship. Because if it's a beauty contest, okay, then Venice is the number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Based on that you could argue that, right? But it's not. They're going to say, well, you lost that last one, so you're number 5 or number 6, which is nothing to be ashamed of, by the way.
Exactly.
And I don't know if Coach Faulkner or the kids would even be so inclined to say like, yeah, maybe we're not. You lose. You look at it in the mirror. You can't say you didn't get robbed. Nobody cheated you out of it. You had your chance in that situation. You just faced the guy that in 7 different classifications in Florida and thousands of high schools in the country. You got the number 1 guy at the end of the year, and you lost 2-1. And so it's kind of hard to say. One thing I will say too about that 2-1 score, Rich, Stoneman Douglas they bunted both their runs in against Venice. They bunted a run in the 6th, the top of the 7th.
That's right. Because Venice had last licks. Yep.
You can only throw 104 pitches in high school baseball, and that 104th pitch, if you throw it and you get the guy out, you get to go to the next. You can go to the next batter. Pitch number 104 was the first out, and then the kid came back and pitched another against the second batter in that inning and got him out on 2 pitches. They took him out. First batter for Venice hits a bomb over the right field fence to go 2-1, and so all of a sudden they're like, he's not in the game anymore. So everybody's thinking, oh my God, now we can get a hit. The first hit's a home run, but the next guy up, he ended up striking out, and they lost 2-1. But that one run, that extra run, and getting that run across the plate with a bunt really was the difference maker. And what a difference it was! If that would have happened, it would have been 1-0, and the first guy up with 2 outs would have hit a home run. Wow, that would have been a gut punch to Stoneman Douglas. But they're a dynasty. That's 6 years in a row that they won the state championship in baseball, and they are a juggernaut. And they had the pitcher to do it with, and it was a very, very exciting, although disappointing game for the Venice High School community.
Yeah, no question about it. In 5A, we have a game. We're recording just before 5 o'clock. By the way, I heard that clap of thunder.
Yeah,
just before 5 o'clock. As on Monday, Charlotte is currently taking on Winter Springs. If we get an update, we will pass it along to you. If they do win, they actually get a day off. They don't play again until Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
In the Class 5A championship. So very, very interesting the way the scheduling works out. I don't know how they figure. John, 104 pitches, not 105, not 100, 104.
Yes.
Who in the hell came up with that?
I don't know. And it's very weird because they must have been done some. I mean, I can only tell you that they had to do some study on it or whatever. But in that case, he throws 104 pitch and gets to go to one more batter. Because if you think about it, okay, you very easily could have put a guy on base. The way kids coming in there and Venice saw nothing but heat in inside in their hands, and if you watch Rojas pitch, it's super aggressive. and he's a bigger kid than he looks like when you see him
Yes.
on TV for sure. So he's got all the credentials, and I think that he'll fly through the minors right now the way he throws a baseball. But yeah, if it was 100, you think a nice round number is 100, right? Or
Yeah.
you think that would be the number. Oh, I got to 100 pitches. We hear it all the time. That's it. 104, and that 104th meant something in that game at Venice. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Yep. All right. The softball championships are underway too. They're in their final fours, and kind of a mixed bag of results. In 7A, Venice lost to East Ridge. Another clap of thunder, 6-2 in the semifinals, and then in the finals, East Ridge came back and beat Sarasota 3-2. So they took out two of our local teams. Did East Ridge, and they're playing in the semifinals. In 6A, Parish Community is in the Final Four. They are the 4 seed, and they're taking on top-seeded Pace on Friday. Same situation in 5A. Braden River is through to the Final Four, but they will take on top seed Niceville on Friday. And in 3A, Lemon Bay fell at McKeel Academy 3-1. Good showing there by Lemon Bay. Hanging tough in that game.
And you said McKeel Academy is a powerhouse too.
Yes, they are. They're a Douglas. They're there every year. So, so congratulations to all of our local teams for making it into the tournament. And in the case of Parish Community and Braden River, good luck in the
keep going.
Final Four. Yep, absolutely. All right, the 941 Sports Zone, presented by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, 941-251-4257, 941-251-4257. I think the roofing is done for today, at least in your area.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be a lightning pole, lightning rod.
If I'm looking out the window over my shoulder, it's one of those it's a little cloud. It's not really a big one, but there's a bunch of them out there today. So yeah, no roofers, no painters. They're all home by now.
So get that roofing taken care of. 941-251-4257. Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. All right, the second major is already in the books. It's kind of funny because I heard some sports talk up here. I don't listen very much to the local sports talk. I'm in the Boston area. It can get kind of nauseating, to be truthfully honest with you. And, they were bemoaning late last week that a lot of people haven't even been able to hit the golf course yet up here in the Northeast. And there's already half the majors are in the books.
Absolutely.
And the players. So 60% of the most important golf tournaments already played through yesterday. And let's give it up for Aaron Rai. I watched 95% of the final round coverage on CBS, John. The long day, 6 hours. I normally do a little more channel surfing, but there really wasn't much on. So I kept it dialed in, and it was one guy. So Justin Thomas posts -5 at about, I don't know, 1:30, quarter to 2.
Yeah, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. No, about 2 o'clock, yeah.
And I'm looking at the leaderboard. I know Smalley was ahead of him, but everybody else was either equal or below him. And I thought that number would stick, and it did for a very long time. And I mean, we're talking about some of the best in the game, approached that number. John Rahm got to that number and had several opportunities to tie or take the lead, but his putter really failed him in the final round. Scotty Scheffler, he was cooked before even the final round. Did have another nice tournament, T14, along with my guy, Matt Fitzpatrick, at -2. Rory was there. You thought, all right, well, Rory's going to make a charge. Rory just kept parring holes. And it was Aaron Rai, a little-known Aaron Rai, who actually bogeyed 8 to fall back to 3 under, and you thought, okay, he's going to fall off the leaderboard and be done. And wouldn't you know it, in the final 10 holes, he goes 6 under, John, hitting some clutch putts, including a 59-foot bomb on 17 that sealed the deal. Aaron Rai, a deserving winner of the PGA.
JJ Spawn number 2. I mean, JJ Spawn had the same thing in last year's U.S. Open. He did not look good the front nine at the Open, and actually fell behind a little bit and just kept on going through. I will say one thing. Somebody on CBS had said, hey, as Ryan was making the turn, he said, he's 1 under on the back nine or 2 under, where nobody else is. Everybody's been over par on the back nine. So there was a little bit of foreshadowing from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But he played fantastic. There was something said on the post game analysis or post tournament analysis where one of the pundits said, you know what, these our PGA golfers are spoiled, or
yes,
because they're complaining about the conditions that everybody else is playing on. It wasn't souped up. I remember this might be 10, 12 years ago. They were playing out on Long Island. I think it was Shinnecock, which I think is this year's U.S. Open.
U.S. Open, yes.
And it was the ball wouldn't stay on any of the greens. It was just they dried it out too much, not enough water, and they made a mess of the tournament. And that's when I would say it wasn't unfair just for one. It wasn't unfair for everybody. Right. In this case, everybody walked in about Arana Mink. I may have said that right. Arana Mink is how you say it, right?
You got it.
Yeah, close enough. Anyway, but they were saying, oh, this course isn't. It's sketchy if it should be a major championship venue because it's so short. It's only 7,100 yards. No, they haven't played here since 72. Gary Player won. They're going on and on and on. But then as the tournament got a little closer, a few guys said, hey, Donald Ross Golf Course, the greens are all wonky. They're going to be this a little different here. And what they end up doing too is they end up growing the rough up a little bit. It wasn't like up to your shins. It was thick.
Yes.
So you could get a lie where it stayed on top of it, or you get a lie where it settled down in. You had to gouge it out of there. So the day and age now, what golf really is bomb it and then scrape it out wherever it goes. Doesn't matter if it's in the rough, because the PGA has turned around and said, okay, guys, you don't want a heavy rough. We're not going to do that to you. None of that stuff. And the PGA tournament was always a little like the U.S. Open always had the hey, this is going to be the rough's going to be 12 inches high. It's going to be impossible for you guys you're all going to be over par. And the PGA said, no, we're going to turn this little golf course into a tough one. And right away, complaining. Mm-hmm. Look, if there's nuances in the green, you got to, that's where the best players were failing. They were failing not only off the tee in some cases, decision making as well, but they couldn't make putts. Scotty got the yips. Scotty was missing 2 footers.
He missed 2 of them.
Because when you think about this, Rich, and I can attest this, I'm sure you can as well. A 2-foot putt shouldn't be hard, but a 2-foot putt that has a half a cup break downhill is damn hard. Yeah, that's when your nerves start getting on you, right? But and nowadays the guys when they're putting, they can slam it in the back of the cup with if they miss it, they're not gonna they got to come back or they're fine. On that golf course, if you miss some of those putts from 2 feet, even a little bit missed it, it was going to go 8 feet past or spin out or whatever. So there was a lot to be said about. There was a lot of, hand wringing when it came to that with some of the putting on there. And by the way, the only guy who really seemed to have it not bother him was Aaron Rai. Yeah, it didn't bother him, and some of the other guys too. I thought it was a good mix of new guys and older guys. And even now that there was some live guys in there, John Rahm looked good for a while. Cam Smith finally came out of wherever he was and played decently as well. So there was a little bit of everything in that one. But ultimately, the course itself, I think the PGA should be applauded for how well they put that course together.
Amen.
Hard, and the rough was penal. It said that you should have a problem in the rough. You missed the fairway. Yeah. Yep. And one guy said, by the way, it was when they talked about it at the beginning of the week, they said the fairways are huge. They're 40 yards wide in some spots. So it wasn't a narrow course. It was, I'm going to hit one. Well, the best shot of the week, Rory drove a 397-yard par 4. And when it landed on the fairway or the collar going up, it bounced like it was like ping pong ball, right? It was bouncing down there like crazy, or like one of those big Super Bowl, I should say. And if he missed, and he was in a bunker and he had a 40-yard bunker shot, he was getting bogey. So they were playing their game, and the course snuck up on them, and the putting in the rough was noteworthy. And I thought it was still a very entertaining golf tournament, and no matter what the bitching was about.
Yeah, and might be hearing a little bit about that a little later on.
Good.
Just a little hint. Scotty was done Friday.
Yeah.
After his presser on Friday, he was done. He was mentally done.
Right.
You know, and the PGA for the longest time, John, especially when it was played in August, there were a couple of times it was almost like target golf, like the tournament in Trumbull that's after the U.S. Open, where everybody scores 20 something under par, and that's not what a major's supposed to be. It's not.
No, it
and those that were bitching were finished. They were done. The course got into their head. And when did and again, I understand the U.S. Open at times, as you're right, it's been very tough. A lot of times you can't hold the green no matter what you do or what have you. But they've kind of corrected that the last few years. You live and you learn.
Right.
Well, the PGA was always the whipping boy, if you will, of the four tournaments, unless there was no wind in Britain. And then, a lot of those courses, when there's no wind, they're suddenly 15 under is the winning score. But the PGA a few years ago said, we got to start making these courses a little more difficult.
Right.
And I loved, was it 14, John? Was the 299-yard par 4? That it seemed like every single golfer put the ball in the bunker. Every single one. Right. Shooting for it. Every single one. The opening is small. Everybody went for it. I know you get later in the round and, you're trying to make up shots. That's one thing. But I give credit to Aaron Rai. His course management, especially the second 9, was tremendous. He's not a quote-unquote bomber, but he was putting everything in the middle of the fairway, where the guys that were bombing, and they were talking about this on the broadcast, the course had a tilt to it, so they would bomb it. It would go to the center of the fairway and then off to the left, and then would end up in the rough, literally only 2 or 3 feet off the fairway. But you know what? You get penalized. And I give Rai all the credit in the world, because he played smart golf down the stretch, and he hit the bomb, and that was pretty cool, especially since nobody was making any putts. But the putt on 16 was just, the tee shot on 16 was just tremendous, and hats off to him. 2 gloves. Interesting. 2 golf gloves.
Yeah.
It's rarely ever seen.
He said he started when he was a kid, and then he never stopped. But we couldn't figure out, because sometimes we saw him with 1 glove out of the bunker, and then we saw him with no gloves on the green. So he definitely had a lot of I guess you say a lot of attention paid to his gloves when he was doing. But Rich, what you were saying, I wanted to add something to that as well. So with Rai and Smalley as well. Yep. So you talk about that 299-yard par 4. Smalley, while he was sort of falling back a little bit, he was still kind of in the hunt for second. He played that hole. He laid up, hit a wedge in, and birdied it. Yeah. And the guys on CBS were like, see, I get that you're trying to get the 299 because you've got it. You can do it with guys can do that with 3-wood. Hell, John Rahm almost did it with a 5-wood. But what was the benefit to it?
Right.
There wasn't. And so that's the beauty of I with golf in particular is one about this tournament as well. For years and years and years since 99, 98, let's tiger proof the golf course. Make it longer. No, make it shorter. When you have 4 par 5s on a round, and for the PGA guys, you start off 4 under because they're going to all get home in 2. It's a birdie hole. Have 2 par 5s and make the par 3s hard. This is what this course did as well. It wasn't longer. It was 7,100 yards, not 77, 78. And guess what they shot? The winner shot 9 under, and it was a lot. And it wasn't 18 under. It wasn't none of that stuff. So you don't have to make the golf courses longer. Okay. I always wondered for a while there. I'm like, are they just selling golf balls and golf clubs to people because everybody wants to go up there and say, I'm an amateur and I'm hitting the ball 265. Okay. What's that doing for your game? I know a lot of guys hit the ball 260. They don't putt and chip very well either, but they get it 260 because they're in the simulator all day or on the warm practice ground or practice area, just swinging the driver 50 times on the range. It doesn't make any sense. And so now maybe the PGA said, you know what? Let's do it this way and see how it goes. Now it opens up doors for all golf courses from whatever they were before. You can have any golf course be set up just that way and see if that affects everybody and see if the golfers get smarter, because they could have. Aaron Rai did.
Yep.
Alex Smalley did. A bunch of these guys, they figured it out. They weren't trying to hit everything a bomb on every way, but doesn't mean they didn't hit driver, but they didn't do it for every hole. So I like it.
Yeah, no, it puts a little thinking into the course. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Justin Thomas.
Yep.
We kind of talked about him a little bit last week. He was able to navigate. He was even par through 3 rounds, but he said he felt good. Put up a nice 65, and like we mentioned earlier, posted that -5, which stayed there for a long time. Good to see him back. Hit a nice putt on 18 to stay at -5. It was like 20-something feet for par. So his putter started to get a little more. And who knows? Maybe he goes to Shinnecock and his game is getting together, and maybe JT makes a run.
This PGA tournament, where it is now, makes the U.S. Open to me interesting, because the guys are coming off now a real major championship course. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Augusta is not. Augusta's its own thing. Okay.
Right.
And of course, you talk about the British Open or the Open Championship, where weather can be the contributing factor. And of course, there's a whole different game over there as well. How many guys can adapt to that as well? Right. I don't know how to play this run, hip and run and all that kind of stuff kind of game, but now U.S. Open, they're going to look around the Open, the guys for the USGA might look around and say, you know what? I like that. They look good. Our course is going to be hard, but we can learn a little something from these guys. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see lower scores, meaning worse scores. You're going to see more. Maybe the winner will be 4 to 6 under, but you won't see a lot of guys that are going to be posting real low scores. And that'll be fun to watch. As a golf fan, again, I can watch guys just make birdie after birdie after birdie most all of the other weeks. I like to see them challenged. I like to see them frustrated. It's kind of fun to see them have that they're at the top of their game. They're struggling a little bit. It kind of makes it look like you're playing with your buddies. How it is with us. You left one in the bunker. I missed a 2-footer. There's something to that. I like it. So it's fun to see.
Next up, Byron Nelson in Texas. That's basically Scotty's home course. And, of course, again, the U.S. Open in Shinnecock on Long Island, Thursday through Sunday, June 18th to the 21st. John, I'm going to have to step away for a second. Can you take over from here for a few minutes?
I sure can.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All righty. And so following Rich's script here, we're going to go talk about the Rays a little bit. And guys and gals, if you're Rays fans, this has been a great run. They're second best in the major leagues right now, with a 30-15 record behind the Braves, who were 32-15. They took 2 out of 3 against Miami, and probably should have taken 3 out of 3 against Miami. A big blow up. I'll ask Rich to get into a little bit too with this one, but a big blow up where you had a situation where the Rays were up it went to extra innings, and the Marlins scored 8 runs in extra innings to go ahead and take that one 10-5. But a really interesting weekend. Hitting, pitching right now are clicking on all cylinders for the Rays. And I honestly believe that this is going to be something they're going to hold on to. A couple weeks ago, Rich and I were talking, and I had said, hey, is this going to be another year where the Rays get to the end of July and August, and they're not buyers. They're just sort of, they kind of hang in there with what they've got, and they go into the playoffs and they don't have enough firepower to beat the Yankees or whoever is hot in the American League this year. And I really believe that with the new ownership, the potential for a new stadium, this is a big year for the new ownership to show who they're going to really be. Are they going to be another version of what Stuart Sternberg was, or are they going to be somebody who a little differently who's going to start deciding that they want to spend a little money, and that new stadium that they're looking at, people will be like, okay, I'd be happy to see the Rays or support the Rays more, because now the ownership has showed out in year one. They put together a good product and they went for it. Instead of being sellers, they're buyers, or bringing another arm in there, or a big bat. It's something they haven't done in the past, and I think this could be a real tone setter for the new ownership.
Yeah, thanks, John, for taking over for a few minutes. I know you're talking about the Rays. I know you're talking about the new stadium and the agreement, if you will. Depending on who you talk to, I saw somebody today who was basically saying we have no idea why this stadium is going to be $2.3 billion, and we need to do some more looking into it. It's a stadium. It's going to cost, especially if you put a roof on it, which you have to. You definitely have to in Florida. The Rays were toast by the end of last year playing outdoors in Florida. They were completely done. And it's no surprise to me. The surprise is they're 30-15. I mean, the surprise is they're tremendously playing great baseball, playing small ball, and then also, Yandy and Junior go deep yesterday against the Marlins, and they've done that a few times this year, both of them in the same game. And don't look now, but they've got a 3-game lead over the Yankees for supremacy of the AL East. They have the second best record in baseball. I don't know if you went over this, John, but
I did a little bit. Yes.
Okay, Atlanta's 32-15. The Rays are 30-15. Big week for Tampa Bay. They host Baltimore for 3, and then have an off day, and they head to New York Memorial Day weekend, which is usually the first post in baseball, measuring stick, if you will.
Yeah, right. Then you go to the All-Star break from there, and then that's
right.
Right.
And then the trade deadline, and then et cetera. Yep. Dog days of summer. But New York showdown Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Should be a tremendous series. Yankees having some issues, especially with injuries, especially on the mound. Now, Garrett Cole's getting close to coming back, but every time they get one coming back, another one.
No, I totally hear you.
Ends up going as we both disappear here. But nonetheless, just a tremendous job by Kevin Cash, and we've talked about it ad nauseum here on this show. The job that he does is second to none with the little payroll they have. I think they're somewhere in the $80 million range this year, which is high for them, but still bottom 5th in baseball for sure. So great job by Tampa Bay. Looking forward to getting a shovel in the ground. All this talk is making me a little bit nervous.
Well, Rich, I'm glad you brought it back up, because I was going to bring it back up as well. So you are the 11th biggest market in the country, TV market. I believe that's what it is, right? 11, whatever. 10 or 11, right. You couldn't get a TV deal done for 2 years. Right, it was terrible. Now they're on MLB. That's where their games are. You get whatever that's going to be. You get that, and now you're going to start doing the same crap again about stadiums. St. Pete said it. Now you get Tampa saying it. Look, I understand that politicians want to get reelected, and that most of these politicians are being elected by people that are 117 years old. Okay. So I get all that. I get it. I got to be there for my constituents and everything else. But understand something. Then don't get if you're not in it, then get out of the damn way. If you're not in it, then the Rays are going to go away. Stop this BS pretending that this is all going to happen, this and that. Look, the governor of the state of Florida is willing to help fund this stadium. Okay, he sees the value in it. So
Right.
what are we holding up? We're gonna nitpick the budget. Okay, that should be done no matter what. That doesn't be done publicly. It needs to be done in a manner that nobody's getting called out or whatever it may be. This should not be anything hard to figure out, Rich. Based on the design, I'll go back to St. Petersburg's last design and this design. Both brought in everything for that community, or the downtown St. Pete area, or they're putting it now where the Hillsborough Community College situation is. Whatever they're doing, it looks like a multi-purpose, you want to name it, multi-money-making situation. Get out of the way. Stop hemming and hawing. Be positive. Go for it. Act like a big city. You know, Orlando, I lived in Orlando for 8-9 years. Back in the day when I was back there, Orlando always acted bigger than Tampa. They didn't bitch about money. They wanted stuff there. They had revenue from tourism like crazy. Disney World, all those different things that are there. They're not a big. It's not a big city, but it acted like a big city. Tampa and St. Pete, they don't act like big city anything. They act like a bunch of old crotchety people coming out of the orange groves or what. I'm just being silly about this, but come on, just commit to it. Be done with it. Stop arguing. If you're out, you're out. Then all you're going to be is the Bucks and the Lightning. Okay, great. When are you start bitching about the Lightning when they need a new place? Because they will. You know that. So
the Bucks will need one before the Lightning.
Absolutely. And now the people would be like, granted, no way the Bucks are leaving Tampa. Okay. But guess what, Rich? You're going to hear people complain about it a lot. We need this. We need that. No, they need to stop all this and not do what's right for the whole. Not for, I represent District 5 and they all don't like it. They'd rather have a place to walk their dog or whatever a case may be. And I get all that, but come on, if you're going to be that city, be that city. Stop with all this BS and go ahead and get the stadium deal done and over with. And then everybody will be happier for it. No doubt about it.
Yep. All right, let's move on. 941 Sports Zone brought to you by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, locally owned, nationally backed. 941-251-4257. 57 is the number. 941-251-4257. Delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. We have a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Round 2 is about to be complete. Probably by the time you watch this, if you watch it on podcast, it's already done. The Buffalo Sabres, basically on life support midway through the first period Saturday night in Montreal, already down 3-1. They pulled their goalie immediately. He stopped 1 out of 4 shots, but they pulled the goalie, and then they put up a snowman, 8-3, send the Montreal fans home disappointed for the second time. Remember, the Lightning won Game 6 in Montreal, 1-0 in overtime. So Buffalo wins Game 6, 8-3 in Montreal. So Game 7 Monday night in Buffalo. The winner gets Carolina, who's coming off a 7-day cruise because they haven't played since May 9th, and they will not play until Thursday night. Game 1 will be in Raleigh.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to sit around. But I will say this, Buffalo and Montreal and Tampa Bay look a lot alike.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I mean, I it's like hard to explain. Like they lose focus or something is a little awry, but to beat up Montreal, especially at home. I mean, I would be if you go down 3-1 at Montreal to close the series, there's no way Buffalo should have come back in that scenario. No way. That should have been over and done with. I don't know. I don't hear anything about the Montreal media, but I guarantee that they're up over that one. I mean, just
Montreal doesn't win Game 7. There's going to be people are going to want some heads.
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that. But I think honestly, we're going to get a C versus C NHL final. I think it's going to be Colorado and Carolina, and I think that might be the two best teams right now. So I think that would be a good series. See how that plays out.
Yeah, see, a lot of people think this Buffalo Montreal, first of all, they went 7. So they're, Montreal, that's a second straight 7-game series. Buffalo went 6 in round 1 with Boston, now 7 in this series, and Carolina's 8-0. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the handwriting's on the wall. If Carolina's ever going to get to a cup final, this is the year. This is the year.
If Carolina wins game 1, and I know it sounds weird to say game, if Carolina wins game 1, series is over in my mind because the whatever rust, whatever they might, that's off right there. That you're Montreal, you're down 1, and maybe they win in a 5-1 kind of game. It'll be Montreal's got to take a deep breath and play their 16th game to Carolina's 9th or 10th. Yeah. It's going to be tough. So I just think that I think stylistically Carolina is different than all the rest of them. They seem to be more complete. They don't give up a lot of goals, and they know that they have timely scoring. They have a good power play. I think Carolina is the best team in the East right now.
Yep. Vegas and Colorado will begin their series in the Western Conference Final on Wednesday. Colorado, an overwhelming favorite in that series.
Yeah.
And that one may not go very far. How about Vegas, though? Not after winning the series last, I think it was Saturday night. They don't meet with the media. Tortorella gets fined $100,000 and they lose a 2nd-round pick. What are they doing? What are they doing?
Who knows? But if what you got to do, it's part of the deal,
right?
And there's no sport that allows you to run away from the media. They just won't allow it.
You won. You didn't lose. You won.
And it's stupid because I guarantee it's some sort of head game. And if that was done without the knowledge of the front office, I think this might be a short tenure for John Tortorella. So we shall see how that all turns out. Yep. So we'll see. I will say this too in regards to Vegas, for a franchise that is very young, in regards to how long they've been in the NHL, they know how to win in the playoffs. They sure do. A good playoff team. Really everybody expected Colorado, but where was Dallas? Where was Edmonton? The teams that we thought we would see maybe button heads with Colorado, and they're nowhere to be found. They were taken out by Anaheim and by Vegas, and now you've got again. I'm not saying both are going to be walkovers. I just think that they'll both win relatively easy.
Both could be very short series for sure, but we'll see how Game 7 turns out. And obviously we'll talk about this next week when we reconvene. NBA, they had a Game 7 last night. Anytime Detroit wants to show up, just let us know. I mean, Cleveland, and listen, I'm a guy that follows the Cavaliers, and I can't explain what happened Friday night in Game 6. Certainly, Detroit took it to Cleveland from start to finish, and we've got a Cleveland Rocks chat room with a bunch of my friends from Ohio, and about 5:00 yesterday, they go, "All right, what's our confidence level for tonight's Game 7?" And I chimed in first. I said about 10%, and I thought at the time that might even be high. I'm like, how do you mail in Game 6, and then you're expected to go to Detroit and win Game 7? Well, they did it by playing Cavalier basketball, something that has been missing forever. They valued the ball, less turnovers, played fast, except when James Harden was on the court. Then it was dribble. Right. He's as a Cavs fan,
you are teeing me up right now, buddy. I'm telling you,
go ahead.
You are teeing me up because I thought Matt Geller, our good buddy, a Detroit guy. I said, no way.
Sorry, Matt.
I said, who's your best player on Detroit? Well, it's Tobias Harris. I'm like, that's who the hell
it's
is
Cade Cunningham. Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying like even if you said Cade Cunningham, right? What did they do in the game 7?
Nothing.
Cade Cunningham was what? He had
0 for 7
points.
from 3. Yeah, yep. 13 points.
Tobias Harris had no points,
yep.
whatever in this he scored from the free throw line or whatever it was. Because there's nobody who's a take over guy. There are 25 other teams in the NBA who have a better guy on their roster than Detroit does. Okay, they got one guy look at Dallas is the worst team in the league, right? Cooper Flagg would be the best player on Detroit if he played for them, right? So there's
possible, yeah.
So
certainly second best.
I never saw Detroit as a threat to Cleveland. I didn't think they were going to beat Orlando. Okay, now Cleveland goes out there, and you're 100% right. James Harden is a team killer. He slows the game down. He's not even a great ball handler. He's a turnover guy. It just totally takes the wind out of that team when he gets the ball in his hand. Nothing starts until they're at 20 seconds gone in the game, the shot clock, and that's how he scored 40 points a game, because he'd keep the ball in his hand for 20 seconds. There was step back jumper and he'd hit it. Look, when OKC had Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, I was like, how would you give up on those 3 guys? Well, I know now, because they're all the same guy. They're all the same guy. They must have all drank some elixir in Oklahoma City, and it made them all into these guys that don't know how to perform in the playoffs. They're terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They just kill the team. Ball hogs, complainers, no energy, take games off either by whatever, either when they're in the game or when they don't even show up for a game. They're the same guys. Where was Durant in Phoenix or in Houston? He didn't come. He didn't play the first 2 games, right? What the hell?
He didn't play game 1. He played game 2, and then he didn't play the rest of the series. You're right. Absolutely.
Where's Westbrook? He's just getting everybody said, oh, he's a stat patter. He sure is. He sure is. And listen, Harden's had some great years as an MVP. I get all that. But my gosh, I just shaved the beard already. I'm sick of that beard. The beard is how he plays.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Cleveland, in spite of him, Cleveland, they moved the ball tremendously. The interior passing, John. I watched they were getting dunk after dunk because they were making the one extra pass, and Allen and Mobley were just jamming the ball home. Mitchell was going to the rack, and Detroit had no answer. It was rather amazing, actually.
Yeah, and again, I never thought Detroit. The Knicks. I mean, at the end of the season, now in the playoffs, clearly the best team in the East right now.
Yes,
Boston.
No question.
You could have argued about Boston, but Boston just whatever's going on there is going on there. Knicks are the best team, and I really see that. Again, do I think that Cleveland can beat the Knicks? Yes, I believe they can. But it has to be a very long series, and the Knicks will have to get. Knicks are gonna have to pucker up a little bit, if you know what I mean. If they're out there showing, if they score 144 in a game, they're not losing, right? But if they get down, if they go to a long series back and forth to Cleveland, I could see them getting a little bit, little bit tight. That might be a situation, but I think the Knicks are on to the finals. But and who they get, I really don't know at this point. That's going to be
a series that's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been calling for that series since like January. When San Antonio was beating OKC like a drum in the regular season. Now it's the regular season. Can they do it? They've won 4 out of 5 in the regular season, including in the NBA Cup. Anyway, can they do it 4 out of 7? See, that's the thing. I think Cleveland can get a game or 2 from the Knicks, but I'm just not sure they can get 4. Although, let's be real, the Knicks have had a pretty easy road. They beat the 6 seed Atlanta
I
and the
agree.
7 seed Philadelphia. So this is definitely a step up for them. But Cleveland does not play defense all that well. Although last night they were in Detroit shorts all night long. Where was that all season? So,
And that's what
and
I'm
then,
saying. That's the frustrating thing about it, Rich. You're right.
yep.
No, if Cleveland gets motivated, like I said, and the Knicks lose a game or two, and it gets to game 6, I would say that's not where the Knicks want to be right now. I think
Right.
they're looking to get through this one quick too, if they could. And that just what it does is it saves Brunson. I mean, he's gonna, he's in the lane. He handles the ball a lot. He could use that. He's the guy I think who can use. He can use a little hiatus here and there. There's no doubt about it. Now, real quick, I want to go back a little bit. So I told you a lot of little what bugging me kind of things. The Harden thing was one of the things I was talking about. Then I also I kind of missed that when I was talking about it earlier. But we talk about the golf and they talk about the Rays. The stadium thing was the thing that's bugging me as well. So a lot of little things that are out there that are definitely bugging me. But not enough to make it worth, the skin or the jump on this one. But there's a lot of little things around there that the things that I looked at, and the NBA being one of them, where it's like I just don't understand how this happens. And the main thing I was getting at is why the hell was Game 7 on Prime freaking Video?
Yes. Nothing against the announcers. I think, Ian Eagle and Stan Van Gundy are really good at what they do.
Good. Go join
But it was on
NBC and do it.
Right. Well, it's Prime.
And not Game 7.
Yeah. A lot of people said that today. And I tend to agree. It's done now. The Western Conference is on NBC. The Eastern Conference is on ESPN and or ABC. And then, of course, the finals are on ABC. But yes, Prime Video getting a Game 7 like that, certainly.
I'm telling you,
you lose viewers because not everybody has Prime.
So think about this. NBC just got back into the NBA, right?
Yep.
Big dollars. ESPN has mortgaged their whole existence on the NBA. They hired
pissed off the NFL.
Right. They hired Barkley and Kenny Smith and Shaq and everybody away from TNT. All this money, okay? All these platforms, and you go to a streaming service for Game 7. I mean, it's stupid. It's flat out stupid. Because I will say this to you, and one day I'll probably talk about this for an hour and a half straight. Okay, pet peeve of mine. Streaming is dying, everybody. Streaming is dying because nobody wants to have 19 different streaming services so they can watch the 19th version of Yellowstone or whatever else everybody's in love with, whatever teen drama that's got zombies in it that everybody has to watch or whatever else it is. Guess what? It's more expensive and it's more of a pain in the ass to go and do all this different stuff than it was before. And
you can't channel surf.
Congress is going to come after the NFL on this because they're streaming service. Everything's streaming. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the networks need to do something about it because this is stupid what they're doing. The people don't realize if you don't make it as easy as it is to do this, people are going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to watch. It's Christmas Day or it's Thanksgiving and having all these different games. You know what? You still got to be there with your family. And then you got, can anybody figure out how to find the game? I can't find it. Where is it? Oh, it's on Netflix. Oh, it's on Prime. Oh, it's on Hulu. Oh, it's on whatever. I mean, I could go down the line of that stuff.
Right.
Stupid. The news and sports should be on the networks, okay? And maybe a splash here and there. But this stuff, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the NBA, dumb.
Yeah. Who do you like? OKC or San Antonio? You think San Antonio's got a shot to knock them off?
Oh, yes, I think they do. But Wembanyama has got to play like a superhuman.
Yeah,
he has to. OKC is long too. Chet Holmgren, different guys.
Mhm.
They can kind of
Holmgren
hang with them.
struggles with Wemby.
Yeah, that's why they're 4-1 against them. I'm sure too. But
Mhm.
I think there's enough. I think their teams are built in a. They got a lot of guys that you don't really know who are double digit scorers and whatnot. They've got Wembayama and the other one's got SGA.
Aaron Fox is a
De'Aaron
is a big
Fox,
time.
I thought that was a huge pickup.
Yep.
That guy was floundering in
Sacramento.
obscurity out in Sacramento.
Yep.
But if you ask me now, I think Oklahoma City wins, but it'll be 7 games.
That would be a tremendous 7 games. That would be awesome. A lot of people think that's the de facto NBA Finals. We'll have to wait and see. By the way, SGA second consecutive MVP.
Right.
Averaged over 31 points a game. I know a lot of people. There was a lot of groundswell for a couple of other players, but in the end, he had even a better year this year than he did last year.
I'm surprised Kendrick Perkins hasn't got mad because he's Canadian and he won the the MVP because that's what it was. It was it wasn't a race thing or anything like that. It was just hey why is he winning so many?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a Canadian keeps winning them now, so I don't know what to do about that.
All right, a couple other things before we hit our locks of the week, which is going to be tough, and also what's bugging me. Aaron Rodgers. I almost didn't want to put this on here because, he stretched this thing out so damn long. Finally gets a 1-year deal to head back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was so desperate they doubled his salary. John, $23 million for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what it is. They are trying to somehow validate the Mike McCarthy hire, a lot of other things. Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh they got big contract with TJ Watt. Mm-hmm. I get all that because if the Rodgers thing, when it goes away, I think the Steelers are in for an implosion. I think there's going to be a lot of it's going to be a massive do-over, and they don't want to fall. And Baltimore hasn't had that happen yet to them. Cincinnati's had a little bit of it, but Pittsburgh sees themselves on the same level as Baltimore, and I understand that they over the years they should be, but they are hanging on a thread right now with this Rodgers thing, and even if Rodgers plays his best. Do we think Pittsburgh is a Super Bowl team? Probably not.
They're another one and done. They're another
playoff crap. So it's going to happen at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they're doing. I kind of understand it a little bit. But new coach, maybe they please the fans and say, here, we gave it a shot. Here's what it is. Tip your hat to Aaron Rodgers. Now Mike McCarthy's here to help us build our team back and to develop another quarterback. Maybe Pittsburgh. Maybe let's say Pittsburgh starts off 1-4. Maybe they look around and say, "Hey guys, I know we don't tank in the NFL, but maybe it's time to tank it a little bit, and let's move on from the situation and let's go for that number one. Let's try to parlay a number 1 draft pick for a quarterback." That could be the case. I don't know.
All right, one other NFL note, actually a couple. It looks like Nashville is going to get Super Bowl 64 in 2030.
Yep.
New stadium, booming city, lots of hotel rooms. I got one of my best friends for life moved from Ohio to Nashville, and he's been trying to get me to go there. I need to go. I need to see what all the hullabaloo is about. So Nashville looks like with their new stadium, they're going to get Super Bowl 64 in 2030.
Yeah, and well deserved. I mean, they got a franchise, they got a new stadium. That's the formula for getting a Super Bowl, and that city is ready for it. I'll tell you what, that might be a Vegas-like setting. It could be, especially now. You're in Nashville, right? Mm-hmm. So last year, who was our halftime performer? It was Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, right?
Bad Bunny.
Okay, well that would be everybody. So you're in Nashville. You better have some sort of country guy or country gal or some, because if you go out there and throw a Bad Bunny in you know in a flourishing music scene like Nashville is, that would be a huge mistake. So I got to think that might be Roger, knowing Roger Goodell, will probably come with some stupid ass cowboy hat on and to announce who the halftime show will be for that one. But no, deserved. They deserve it. They built the stadium and they got a franchise, so they deserve the Super Bowl.
And it looks like the 2028 NFL draft, this has become a big thing now. Looks like it's heading to the Twin Cities, to Minneapolis. And they've had Super Bowls before in Minneapolis. So interesting choice there, to me anyway.
Yeah, I think now it's going to become a situation where they're like Super Bowl, you're just going to get it because you get it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe they'll be too cold to boo Roger Goodell when he comes out for all the picks. I don't see a lot of people running to Minneapolis to go to the draft.
Well,
but
folks in the Midwest will.
Yeah, I could see that maybe. But I mean, I thought that there's I thought that was a quick jump to there. I thought there was probably other places they could have went with before they went there, but be it. They've ruined it already. We've talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They ruined it when they made it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So to me, they can have it on Mars for all I care. I'm not going on a Thursday, so that'll be wherever it is it's at.
All right. From the weekend, the Preakness. I've been following horse racing all my life. Talk about a lack of buzz this year. It was not even at Pimlico. It was at Laurel Racecourse with a capped crowd of 4,800. There's usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 120,000 at Pimlico. They're going back to Pimlico next year, but the grandstand's not going to be finished. So you're going to have a bunch of tents and everybody hanging out in the infield. That should be interesting, especially if you get a day like, say, tomorrow up here in the Northeast. It's supposed to be in the mid-90s. That would be a little rough for sure. Napoleon Solo wins the race. He was on the Triple Crown Trail. Did not run in the Derby. Was able to win the Preakness. Oselli, who was third in the Derby, was the Derby's best finisher as he finished fourth. He's still a maiden, but boy, is he banking some money. Finishing third and fourth in these races, he's going to be $1 million maiden. So,
and I'll say this too, so going back to what we talked about with the Kentucky Derby, and not going for the Triple Crown. Man, horse racing with the Triple Crown and the Preakness and everything else, a little by little, Rich, I'm seeing the deterioration of this situation, and I hate to see that maybe next couple of years, that they'll be on a streaming service where you get to watch the Kentucky Derby on Netflix, Preakness will be on Hulu, and the Belmont will be wherever. Because
the Preakness is up for bid right now. This was the last year on NBC, so
it's going to happen.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And that's to me that's a tough one. You don't, and the specialization of horse racing as we've seen it with horses running only certain amounts of whatever they a mile and 3/8 or whatever they do. It's making it harder and harder, and I think they need some stories, or they need something to kind of get them up and going. Because if you said if Pimlico is going to be still under construction next year, will they be back at Belmont by next year, or do we?
Yes, Belmont actually opens in September.
Okay.
Aqueduct is going to be closed down in June. They're going to have their little racing festival, the Belmont Racing Festival, up at Saratoga in early June, and next year it will definitely be back at Belmont Park. Well,
Belmont being right on the edge of New York City, actually very close to where my parents grew up, in that the Nassau County, Queens area right there. There's always a big pull, but hopefully they can they don't lose the steam that they've had over the years with Belmont being a big deal. We'll see what happens with that. So, like you said, maybe they need to stretch it out a little bit and go another extra week or two each way so they can get the horse a chance to maybe run in the Triple Crown. So,
well, it's interesting right now. The New York Racing Association is the hurdle, the roadblock at the moment, because they are not moving the Belmont Stakes. They don't care. So it should be interesting how this goes. If they're not going to move, do you make the Preakness third? Do you? I mean, it's and this is again what's all wrong with horse racing. The two sides can't get together, so we're continuing to continuing to just fracture the sport.
Yeah, no, I know. It's sad because it really is it's a really cool sport. You don't see it on TV very much anymore. Breeders'
Right.
Cup and then the Triple Crown stuff's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, locks of the week time. Both of us struggled, but at least my guy made the cut.
Listen, Tommy Fleetwood holds the course record. He's got 62 twice there. Twice.
Yeah.
How in the hell do you come out there and he was 5 over before like I blinked my eyes. I'm like, what happened? And look, I'm nothing to get, but he got caught up in everybody else did. He just sort of floundered in the conditions out there. The one thing that I thought about Tommy Fleetwood, and I still hold on to this, most golfers have a window where they kind of get over the hurdle, win a major or two, make a career for themselves, and then off into the sunset. I thought this would be the year he would parlay his wins from last year into something where he would be, do something in the majors. And it looks like he's gone back to just being like Tommy 36 guy. Hey, what'd you do on Sunday? I shot 18 pars. Great. That doesn't win, doesn't win titles or whatever. So hopefully he can get past that because I think he's a super nice guy. He seems like he'd be a guy people have really kind of migrated to.
My guy, Matt Fitzpatrick, first 3 rounds, he just couldn't get anything going. I mean, he didn't totally suck, but he was +2 after the second round, +3 after the third round. He did shoot 65 on Sunday, ended up tied for 14th. I'm sure, the check will cash very well, but he didn't finish in the top 5. So you are 21-13. I'm 19-15 on our locks of the week. And John, do you have one?
A lock of the week, yes. Okay. My lock of the week is that the Knicks will win the first games of the series. They'll go 2-0 and head to Cleveland with a 2-0 advantage. I just think that Knicks are it's. I don't say that again. Cleveland doesn't have a chance. I think that they do, but I think it's going to take Cleveland a little bit of time to kind of figure out what the Knicks are going to think. The Knicks are going to come out and maybe even boat race them the first game and see if Cleveland.
That's my fear as a Cavs fan. That's my fear. You put all your eggs into the basket in Detroit. Game 1, you fall behind 10 points in the second quarter, and you just you don't even lick the stamp. You just mail it in.
Yeah, and I think game 1 it could be a boat race, and then game 2 that'd be the one difficult one. But playing in the Garden, then the New York fans look. New York fans there's a subculture to New York that the Knicks and the Ranger fans are just like fanatics with this stuff. And but now also which is great is that New York has become what the Lakers used to be. They've got 37 celebrities on the sidelines.
Yep.
And it's a hot thing. And sometimes that energy and that New York energy, I'll call it, in that building, boy, it could really, really boost the Knicks. And I think that'll be helpful because sometimes this, the hard true fans sometimes can be hard to please. And I think the Knicks fans are sort of in this euphoria right now. And if they come out and Knicks can lock into that energy of the crowd, I think home field or a home court will be an unbelievable advantage for the Knicks.
I'm going to go similar to you, but I think Colorado will take the first 2 games against Vegas. I think that's a very, very short series. And I actually think both conference finals are going to be relatively short series. And the way the NHL does things, they're going to have about a 10-day break before the start of the finals, which is just incredibly stupid. I know you got to kind of, because both finals are on ABC, if you will. So you got to kind of work it in with the NBA finals. NBA's already announced that they're going to begin the finals on June 3rd. So you got to kind of work around their schedule, if you will.
Right.
But but I think these are both short series, and I think Colorado will take care of Vegas in the first two games of that series. I'm taking a little more of a risk because hockey puck
Yes,
luck is a thing. So
there's no doubt
all right,
about it. All right,
yep,
you know what? I want you to go first because you were already on
yeah,
your bugging me, so I'm not going to stay hot with it. I want to hear
yeah.
what's bugging you.
Well, what's bugging me is the entitlement of the golf community. I just it drives me crazy listening to these press conferences on Thursday and Friday. You could basically just I said it earlier. Scotty Scheffler was done after his Friday press conference because
Right.
the golf course was in his head. It's not him, it's the course. And again, the fact that they want to play target golf in a major is just beyond me. It needs to be hard. It's a major. And him sitting at the podium for 30 minutes just whining. And that's what I got. All I heard was whine, 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 whine. Every question. And let's give the golf media some credit. They fed him questions that were going to make him whine. But
Right.
listen, and he wasn't alone. Rory also early in the week was talking about the golf course. He said he played like shit in round one,
Right.
but then he also started bringing up this course and the pin placements. Normally Sunday pin placements. They place the pin wherever the heck they want.
Right.
Again, this is not supposed to be easy, and it drove me nuts to listen to these guys. When did golfers get that soft? I don't know what happened.
That's exactly what they're saying on Golf Channel. They were saying the same thing. There was a bit of like you could say like, they were annoyed. Some of these guys that were talking about this stuff, they were like,
Sure,
what are we doing here? This makes no sense. Adapt, adjust. Right. You can hit any shot you want to hit. Why has it got to be that way for whatever you're looking for? I honestly believe this. The lead up to the tournament, Rich, was well, it's a short course. They're gonna bomb it off. They're gonna bomb it off the map. They're going to be hitting little gap wedges and 60-degree wedges in here. They're going to eat this place up 18 under. And when day one hit and it was a little cold and a little windy and the course didn't play the way they expected it to, they went into full on get me my budgie so I can go be mad now about this. And that's what they did. And they didn't allow themselves the opportunity to go out there and say, you know what? Got to play this way. They went back and expected somebody to fix it for them. Fix it. That's what it was. Stupid. Very stupid.
And it's not like it was an advantage to anyone, really.
No,
you play your game. Yeah, you play your game. But I thought it was really interesting. When's the last time, and you would know this much better than I, and I should have done a little research, but when was the last time that the second round scores, in other words, the leader at the end of the first round, the score was higher than the leader at the end of the second round? It was 5 under the first day, 4 under the second day.
Doesn't happen.
And it was and it was about to be 4 under the third day until Smalley kind of closed with a little bit of a little bit of a flourish to get to 6.
And the thing about it was the guys who were complaining, Rich, were in it. Mm-hmm. They're out. There were a shot or two out of the lead. There was like 30 guys within 3 strokes of the lead. Going into
which another thing they were complaining about. There's too many people. 33 golfers are between 4 under par and even.
And there's the entitlement issue when you say, well, I shouldn't be in the same category as Alex Smalley, right. I mean, or whoever else. No, that's part of the deal. And look, you don't want to play 2 U.S. Opens? Great. I understand that. But it should, whatever version of the golf course that they bring out there for the PGA should be exactly what it is. Look, if Thursday wasn't as windy as it was, listen, and there was definitely a situation where if you went out, if you went out late and then early, you got screwed a little bit. Okay, weather wasn't.
Yeah, because Friday morning was very blustery.
But that happens all the time. That's everywhere that happens. So everything was sort of like being overdone. I think they just expected it to be a different golf course because of everything they heard and because of the length of the golf course, and it didn't turn out that way, and they were annoyed. Be annoyed with yourself. I think Roy's saying like you said, he played like shit. I get that, but he didn't say it like Like it seemed like he was like, yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
play great, but that kind of stuff.
Yep.
He got himself right, but he couldn't make putts in that then
Yep.
in a couple situations. So I do like it, and you're right. I totally agree.
All right, your turn.
Well, I'm going to keep going on the golf side of things, okay, but a little different about it. You know, I always when I do the what's bugging me, I think to myself, when I was watching TV this week on watching sports, what annoyed me? What just got into my skin and that I yelled at the TV or I did whatever it was. In this case, I'm a golfer. I go to Waste Management, and it's an unbelievable show. But you know what I'm tired of? I'm from the Northeast. You're living in the Northeast right now, okay? I'm tired of Baba Booey. I'm tired of whatever else bullshit comes out of these people's mouths on these golf tournaments. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, but they have to have security around because you're trying to attack somebody's family or whatever else it is. Okay, it happens in Boston. It happens in Philly. It happens in Pittsburgh. It happens in all the different places. I'm not saying you have to screen people's psychological damage to get in there. But the minute somebody says that shit, you're out. Okay. And no worse of a thing than if you're a golf fan. Okay. If you're a real golf fan, all right, or a real fan of the PGA, there's no reason you should be going after Rory McIlroy because he's from Northern Ireland. Okay. This crap with him, this Ryder Cup. You don't even know. I guarantee you, the guy yelling at Rory about USA, or the Ryder Cup doesn't even know how they score the Ryder Cup. Right. He doesn't even understand any of it. He's just an idiot who just wants to say something that's like it's going to make him upset or whatever. Look, when Rory's got to turn around and throw somebody, has to have somebody thrown out. Where's the security guy seeing the guy? Don't worry, Rory. I know who it is. He's out of here. Okay, throw their asses out. Stop all the different stuff. And by the way, the guys on the Ryder Cup, I'm talking about the U.S. guys, okay? What you need to do is you need to say, hey, guys, look, here's the deal. I'm embarrassed to represent my country because we got morons on Long Island screaming and doing stuff and yelling at people's wives. If that's what it's going to be, and we don't have security on this thing and we're not going to throw people out, then I don't play in the Ryder Cup. And it's got to be because Rory took a stand, okay, for the PGA and didn't take $1 billion from the Saudis. Right. He said, I'm not doing it. I'm here for the PGA. And he took shot after shot after shot to keep the PGA on course. Okay, right. Whatever that may be.
Sacrificed his game a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. It cost him a lot. It cost him a lot of money. It cost him grief. He didn't need that, right?
Right.
So now we got numbnutses who are out there screaming USA at Rory. And by the way, that could have been the Live Championship if he didn't make a stand. Okay, so I get the nationalism a little bit. I understand some of that stuff, but that's it. They need to do something about it. They need to come out and say something. PGA needs to come out and say, next time we go somewhere and somebody is heckling Rory about certain things or any of our golfers from other countries, you're out. You're out in a flash. No questions asked. One time, that's it. And all that, I said all that stupid stuff has got to go. It's not fun to watch. It's gonna affect the tournament.
It's nauseating. It really is nauseating.
Yeah. You watch somebody's gonna say something, gonna hit the ball, and it's gonna be one of those situations where it's a bad deal. And by the way, with a lot of the stuff going on in this country as it is, we don't need stupid stuff happening like somebody getting jumped on a golf course or knocked down or God knows what it is, and he's wearing a USA jersey or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's enough idiots where they get enough of a voice. They're like, well, he said USA. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go knock his caddy down and take his driver and run around with it like it's a horse, or something like that.
Right.
That's the stupidity of it all. And the PGA needs to address it on TV, not a little note. They need to come out and say, we're done with this with the fan base. We want you to have fun. But if you're going to go out there and do this, you're gone. You're gone. And if whatever, because it wouldn't happen in Augusta, right?
No. God, no.
You lose, you'll never go again, right?
Right.
So why would we allow this to happen at a major championship? It needs to stop.
Yeah. Totally agree with you 1,000% there. So we both have golf.
Yeah.
What's bugging me is this week, and they really are. Both issues need to be addressed. I mean,
And
the
you're right.
players. Yeah, go ahead.
We addressed it. We don't want to hear Rory complain, but
Right.
that's not a reason to go after his wife, or
Right.
not a reason to be saying USA. The guy lives in this country. He makes
That's
his
correct.
living here. The
Yes.
hell.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the 941 Sports Zone. If you're watching live, either on YouTube or Facebook, enjoy Game 7 tonight in Buffalo. Game 7s don't come around often. I know Montreal's playing in their second consecutive one. Cleveland played in their second consecutive one. By the way, if this gets to Game 7, John, Cleveland's won 6 consecutive Game 7s.
It's funny how you get these statistics.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't even know that, and I'm a Cavs fan. That's pretty amazing. Anyway,
And that's what I'm saying. Why I said about I'm a little worried in some cases that they get puckered up. They start hearing that stuff, and it becomes true after a while.
So we'll be well into the conference finals in both the NBA and the NHL next week. We'll continue to track the Rays after their trip to New York. Remember the Yankees came here and got swept early in the season in April. So I'm sure they've got a little bit of revenge on their mind. And the Rays, of course, would like to open up some more ground. So we'll hit all that and more next week on episode number 40.
Yeah, you know what?
4-0.
It's also, I think, Rich, we might have to do something where, because we're getting into the dog days of this stuff, maybe a local sports recap with maybe bringing some of those buddies of ours. I will say I'm going to pop a little here again on our media day, July 24th.
Yes, thank you, because I was just about to lead you into that. Yep.
Yeah, and I spoke to Xavier and James and Matt and all the guys that are the media guys, and they're all in, ready to go. Like last year, we're looking to get a big print coverage as well. So looking forward to it, July 24th once again, and then sponsorships are coming in soon. June 1 is a lot of stuff. There's supposed to stuff happening with sponsorships, so looking forward to that as well. I again, it's a great little deal. When I talk to people about it, did this weekend, they're like, so like it's just like and I'm like, no, it's everybody who wants to come and has a football team. And I said, we've got to make sure we got to make another spot at the table for Welland Park. We've got to make sure we get Babcock Ranch also in that as well. So
absolutely.
Everybody who can make it, by all means, it'll be fun. And the guys who I spoke about it were the media guys are extremely excited about the prospect of doing it again. So
I'm looking forward to coming down there for that as well. So again, July 24th, mark it on your calendars at a location to be determined.
Yes, that's true. I should make that announcement here shortly, but I think we're all good. Yes.
Okay. All right, so that'll do it for John, ready for OTAs, Masoni. I'm Spitz. And until next week, so long, everybody.